Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE Money in the Bank 2019 preview and predictions. We have got a grand total of 11 matches, 2 of which are on the pre-show, so we won't be live reacting to those, but the other 9 we will be, including both world titles on the line, both women's titles on the line, the U.S. title on the line, a cage match, and most importantly, 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches, which I know are like John's favorite thing ever. John, I am pretty psyched about this show, but I think everyone wants to know how you feel, my friend.
Oh, brother, I gotta tell you, being fair, at least in my mind, I won't say, oh, my hype's a 10 out of 10, because I do feel like the ladder matches in some respects could have been better, even though they did improve on them in some cases, like in the weeks leading up to this show. But I will say, if I'm being truthful with myself and all of you, my hype for this show is at a 9 out of 10 right now. I am.
Damn. You know, it's interesting because I'm at an 8.5.
Oh, wow. See, again, just that 0.5 difference. No, dude, this is my favorite pay-per-view of the year. I think the Money in the Bank ladder match is like my favorite gimmick match. I know for a lot of people, including you, like we've talked about this, it's like Royal Rumble, and I love the Royal Rumble too. No, I'm wrong. It's like a shit ton of fun, but I don't know, man. I've just always like had an affinity for Money in the Bank for reasons sometimes that I can't even quite put a finger on. I'm just always giddy around this time of year, probably because I think some of my favorite wrestling memories kind of stem from summer, when I'd get out of school and when, I'd be able to watch the programs and I'd get to stay up late and do all that. And then the Money in the Bank ladder match, the first one, we've covered some of the older ones because of Patreon request. I think it's a great narrative device to elevate certain mid-carders to upper mid-card main event level, or even just upper mid-carders, just cementing them in that main event spot. I've done, and I know I told you this before I went live, I've done rankings today, both fandom-wise and logically, looking at both these ladder matches about the reactions that were, or the outcomes that would make me the happiest, relative to the outcomes that I think are also most likely to happen, because those are 2 distinct things. So I'm really looking forward to the conversations that you and I are going to have today, and I'm just so fucking jazzed for this show, and I'm happy to see everybody kind of filing in the chat. This should be a good one today.
Yeah, and it seems like pretty much everyone is relatively hyped for this show. The lowest number that I've seen from anyone between us and then the chat is 8. That's impressive for a WWE show.
Yeah, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely, dude. No doubt about it. So,
and I like what Hypothesis said, too. He said Money in the Bank ended up being what the King of the Ring pay-per-view should have been. I can kind of see where he's coming from there, because we got to remember, when King of the Ring was what it should have been, which was in like the late 90s, and really the 90s in general, it was used to create stars. It was used to give people an opportunity to really shine, gave people mic time, gave people more matches, gave people a shine, and obviously ended up giving them an opportunity to win a world title as well. That's pretty much exactly what Money in the Bank is now. And I think that might even have contributed to the last 2 or 3 King of the Ring tournaments leading to really nothing and kind of just like lame gimmick changes that nobody even liked.
Right, exactly. I feel like Money in the Bank has definitely supplanted concepts like King of the Ring. I can definitely see that that perception. And yeah, man, I'm just ready to dive into this card because, again, I'm so psyched for this show.
All right, excellent. Well, let's get into it then. We will start on the pre-show, and the pre-show has 2 matches, and one of them is a non-title match, and the other is a Cruiserweight Championship match. So which would you like to talk about first?
We can talk about, the order you have it in the description is the Cruiserweight title match is the first kickoff match, and then the tag title matchup. So let's just talk about, the Cruiserweight title matchup first, I think.
Okay, so I'm going to be as transparent as possible here. I don't watch 205 Live at all, and I used to when Buddy Murphy was the champion because I just love Buddy Murphy. So I would always go into WWE's YouTube channel and see if I could find Buddy Murphy segments, and I would watch those. But now that Murphy is no longer on 205 Live, I am completely out of touch with it. So I'm just going to assume Nese retains here. I have no clue.
Yeah, I think Nese retaining is the safe bet. He's still coming off fresh of the Cruiserweight Championship win at WrestleMania. Like you, I've kind of dropped off of 205 Live, which is kind of a shame because, like you, I watched for, Ali and mainly Hideo at the time when he was there, and seeing Buddy just steal the show consistently. And now we're kind of seeing a new generation of guys. I've seen James Drake there. Oni Lorcan, who I think is awesome and definitely underappreciated, and God knows I'm not helping the problem if I'm not watching the products he's not on.
I mean, I like Lorcan. I think my favorite guy in 205 right now would probably be Drew Gulak, but it just feels like there is such a hard, rigid, set ceiling for him that he's never going to win the title.
I could see you coming back into 205 Live if they ever give Humberto Carrillo the strap, because I know
absolutely.
He's on
I love him. He's amazing. He is like my favorite young up-and-coming prospect in the WWE right now.
And, it's funny that we're talking about people that we like, because the challenger, Ariya Daivari, I've actually advocated for this guy, for a long time. Not actively.
since the Cruiserweight Classic, you've been into him to a degree.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I haven't advocated for him, as strongly as, say, a Kyrie or anything like that, but I think what he does in the ring is solid. I think his stuff looks good. I like the character. I like, too, can I just say that the character, at least the last time I checked, maybe that's changed, I think Foster would be a far bigger authority on this than me. The last I checked, the character wasn't a stereotype, which I really appreciated. So it's really cool seeing him in this opportunity. I think this is his first time being able to compete for the Cruiserweight Championship. I don't see it being a successful endeavor, though. I do see Tony Nese retaining. So, yeah.
It's one of those things for me, too, where, Nese is like an impressive athlete, but I just don't care about him at all.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I think Tony Nese can do really exciting things, but I don't know. The character seems a bit kind of one note, and it's kind of weird that he's kind of a baby face right now. Maybe the title reign would feel a bit more inspired if he was a heel, which may happen later in the reign. But clearly, Ariya Daivari is going to be the heel in this match, and I just feel like Tony Nese is the baby face that's going to overcome. So
yeah, and that's another reason why we're not going to watch this too, is because I know that you like Daivari, but I've always kind of seen him as another Randy Orton type. He bores me to that degree.
Right.
So. Yeah, we're gonna be not watching the pre-show because this match. I don't think either one of us is really excited about the idea of this match coming on, and then the next match, which is Daniel Bryan and Rowan defending the SmackDown, or not even. That's the problem here. If this was a tag title match, we might react to it, but it's not, so I don't think we will. Bryan and Rowan versus the Usos in a non-title match. How are the titles not on the line here? I don't get that.
I guess because they beat the Usos for the titles very recently, and given that Shane's a heel, and given that the authority figures seem to be a bit heelish, with Vince coming into the picture more and shit, maybe they just felt like the Usos didn't deserve a rematch. Either way, you've got 4 competitors, and I say 4 because I actually enjoy Rowan in tag team settings. I actually think that's really where he thrives, especially with Bryan as tag partner. Oddly enough, I've enjoyed Rowan more in a tag setting teaming with Bryan than I have mostly with Harper. Maybe that's just because Bryan has such a big personality. It just kind of radiates over everything, So I do feel bad, though, that Bryan is on the fucking pre-show because the dude's been doing some of the best work of his career. I mean, it takes 2 to tango. For as successful and as powerful as Kofi Mania was, Bryan was the perfect villain to be that foil. And to see, after all that work he's done to really legitimize Kofi and Kofi Mania and all that, and now trying to do the same stuff with the tag titles, to see him on the kickoff, it's a bit dispiriting. I'm still waiting for eco-friendly tag titles. I think when those debut, I think that they might even debut on the pay-per-view. That wouldn't surprise me at all, because we've got to remember Bryan and Rowan didn't have the titles with them when they showed up on, I want to say, was it Monday? I don't even remember. It might have been SmackDown. Right. So, brother, SmackDown, because I think we were reacting to it. You know what, brother? I feel like I'm going to, because I know it, my mind's telling me one thing and my gut's telling me another. I think I'm going to go with the logical route, what I perceive as logical. I'm going to say that Rowan and Bryan win again. I mean, because traditionally I feel like a non-title match, it would favor the people that really... Yeah, that's why I'm going to pick the Usos, because I feel like if the titles were on the line, I would pick Bryan and Rowan, but the titles not being on the line, there's no reason for the Usos not to win. Right. I just feel like they may really want to stamp that. Yeah, Bryan and double Rowan down on how OP Bryan and Rowan are. I gotcha. Exactly. So I'm going to go with Bryan and Rowan here. Yeah, I mean, that's perfectly understandable. I'm not going to try and sway you to my side or anything. So absolutely. Let's get into the main card, though. Let's start with the single least important match on the main card. The only match that doesn't have really personal stakes or a championship on the line, or obviously a briefcase on the line. Roman Reigns versus Elias, because quite frankly, who gives a shit? Yeah, I gotta tell you, man, I feel so bad for Elias because they turned him face for that brief period. He seemed to be massively over. I feel like he could have stepped into even if not necessarily Roman's spot, excuse me, I still got Rowan on the brain. Roman's spot, I think he could have been a strong upper mid card babyface that a lot of people would have gotten behind, especially if he stood up to a main event heel. And they quit on him way too soon, and the stuff they did with him as a babyface was fucking pointless. I mean, do not forget the guitar kind of ladder match that he had with Bobby Lashley, which I thought was stupid as shit. And he's a heel again. And the thing is, too, I gotta say this, man, like, as a heel, especially with him like getting shaken up, could have been an interesting fresh start because Vince built him up as like, oh, this is the biggest acquisition in shake up history. And that's really cool that they would give that to Elias, and it could be like, a chip on his shoulder, like, oh, I'm running this shit. I'm the biggest acquisition, whatever. And then the first feud is the Roman feud. Like, I would be so excited for Elias and his fans to have Vince's endorsement if he beat Roman, because then honestly, dude, with Kofi currently, now we're going to get to that championship match later, currently as WWE champion, what I like about him is he's kind of the babyface equivalent of Bryan, where like everybody looks like a contender. Even Elias. Like, if Elias were to beat Roman, I would fully expect him to come on SmackDown post Money in the Bank and challenge Kofi for the championship at Extreme Rules. Like, that's just where my mind would be at. And I wish they would do that. Like, you have no idea like how badly I want that to happen. But it's fucking Roman. If you really want me to like feel the full love for Money in the Bank and be like, oh, this pay-per-view is amazing and every year and all that stuff, you'd have Elias go over. But my expectations are so fucking tempered here. I think Elias will be competitive with Roman. The commentary will talk up like, oh, look at the fight Elias is bringing tonight. But until you render that 3 count, it ain't worth shit. And Elias ain't going to do it. And Roman's going to do it after 1 spear. And so Reigns wins. LOL. You have anything you want to say about this?
No, I don't really have anything else to say about this. Reigns is going to win. There's no doubt in my mind. But I do have some interesting thoughts when we finally do get to the Kofi Kevin match. That I've got some stuff to talk about. So,
all right.
Interesting. That said, though, let's move on. The only other match on this card with no proper stakes, although this is much more of a personal sort of blood feud, and it's in a cage, is The Miz versus Shane McMahon. I don't know, man. I really want to pick Shane to win again, just because it just feels like such a WWE move. I don't know. Maybe Shane might even be like a next contender for the title. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, and we've been hearing that. God, it's really going to be the ladder matches, and specifically the WWE Championship, are going to be really difficult for me to predict. Personally, I can't wait to really talk about like the bulk of this fucking card when we get to the big stuff. But this, just to kind of take it slow for a second. First off, I've got to praise both guys. I'm happy that Miz has kind of maintained his babyface momentum. And in WWE's mind, them pairing Miz up with Roman really just solidifies like, oh, Miz is at this level. Look at Roman endorsing him. Like, I personally could take it or leave it, but thinking as WWE would think, that's a huge stamp of approval. Like, if they're having Miz run with Roman as they have like the past, 2 weeks, that's like, oh, hey, Roman's our top guy. And if he's seeing you and he's like giving you the thumbs up, metaphorically speaking, that's big for you. So that's actually a huge sigh of relief for me, because, I've been saying to you, I hate the idea of Miz leaving SmackDown, because I feel like he was primed for that main event push on the blue brand. And then he goes to Raw, and I feel like everything gets undone and he has to start at square one. And maybe square one ain't that bad, because it seems like they're protecting him a little bit right now. On the other hand, Shane has been a great heel. I am so thoroughly entertained by him and his brand of narcissism, forcing Greg Hamilton to do the intro again and again and again, and his delivery on promos and everything. Like, he has just enough of like his father in him as a heel without being an exact carbon copy, which I like.
Let's just also not forget that Evan Bourne used to team up with John Cena a lot. Like, let's not put too much stock into the whole guy who tags along with the top guy thing.
And that's true.
So did Zack Ryder at one point.
That is true. And really, it does depend on how Raw sees Miz, because again, I do see a disparity in brands. I think we've all seen a disparity in the brands. I've even said there are some guys that you go to Raw and you're nothing more than a mid-carder, maybe an upper mid-carder at best, but that's good enough when you go to SmackDown to be a main event player. And I just wonder what Miz exactly is in the Raw scheme. In this moment, he's still got this feud with Shane. What worries me is when that feud ends, because then what does Miz do? That said, though, I am tentatively going to pick Miz to win. I feel like Shane has kind of gotten the better of Miz, and even if he hasn't gotten the better of him on some episodes of Raw or SmackDown, he's always evaded getting his full beating from Miz. Miz has never really gotten his full comeuppance, his full pound of flesh from Shane, and Shane's been trying to avoid Miz at all costs. I do feel like Miz is going to get his comeuppance inside that steel cage. But then again, like you said to me earlier about Bryan and Rowan, I'm not going to argue with you trying to get you on my side, because I fully understand why you would pick Shane, because knowing WWE, they would do some cockamamie shit, right? Where maybe Miz hits Shane too hard and Shane goes through like the cage door, the cage wall, and technically that's an escape, so Shane wins.
Yeah, because you know who's not on this card at all?
Who's that?
Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking about Lashley a little bit earlier. Yeah,
they're kind of turning that group, those guys, into like their own little like power faction, where it's Shane, Elias, Drew, Corbin, and Lashley. That's kind of becoming a thing.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely becoming a thing. And his absence, I will say, is a bit strange, and especially because only, I think, again, 2 weeks ago, Lashley helped lay the Miz out so that Shane could get like his shots in. So Shane could easily have Lashley on the payroll. Yeah, I mean, that again, that's totally understandable.
So you know what? Yeah, I'm going all the way. I'm picking Shane to win again. I'm gonna keep betting on this cash cow until it fails me. It worked out for me at WrestleMania. I bet on Shane to win. It worked out. I'm doing it again. I'm going all in. Shane McMahon for the win.
Well, there you go. And I'm going to stick with Miz, because even if Lashley does run interference, they could just as easily do it as just something more for Miz to overcome to up the babyface fire. So I do think, Miz will get his comeuppance here. So we'll see what happens. But I again, just wanted to say that this feud has been fantastic and really has been better than it has had any right to be. I mean, when this feud started, I was like, oh, God, really? We're doing this? Because, again, I had the same feelings about Miz then, that, like, he's on the cusp of the main event. But, man, have both these guys killed it. So just want to say big ups to those guys. And now, sorry for cutting your transition off. We can get to our next matchup.
Yes, we can get to the United States Championship match. Samoa Joe defending against Rey Mysterio with what I assume will be some kind of interference or involvement from Dominic.
Yeah, brother, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. I don't think...
I almost wonder if we're going to get some kind of involvement from Cesaro, too, since he randomly decided to interject in this feud.
I don't think we will, but what I was going to say was I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm going to say that Rey wins here.
I agree.
And totally avenges his squash at WrestleMania. Yep. I think him and Joel have one more match, maybe at a pay-per-view, and Dominic. And then I would hope to see Dominic get choked out and really make it personal. But then after that feud is closed, I could totally see Rey feuding with Cesaro into like late summer, early fall. I hate the idea of Cesaro being back in the mid-card again. But him and Rey had a really inspired match on Monday, and I don't think that's the last time we're going to see those two square off. But I think it begins with Rey becoming U.S. champion, and I don't think he's ever been U.S. champion, so this will be a historic milestone for Rey in WWE. And
I'm guessing what will happen is Joe will lose to Rey here, but then choke out Dominic to get a rematch at the next pay-per-view.
Exactly. Yeah, I completely agree with you, brother, for sure. So, Rey wins.
All right. Well, we've both got Rey winning. It's kind of interesting when we both agree and we can just kind of move on quickly. So we've got Rey winning, but now we get to kind of the most interesting part of the card. Like the 5 matches that we've discussed so far, like it's okay. But once we get past those 5 matches, the last 6 matches are like bellissimo. Like this is the stuff that we're here for, because now we get into the Becky Lynch matches against Lacey and Charlotte, and then we get to the world title matches, and then we get to the Money in the Bank matches. So let's talk about Becky Lynch. I do have her 2 matches back to back here, so if you want to talk about them both at the same time, you can. But if you want to go in like a specific order, I think the Lacey match is like less of a big deal than the Charlotte match because of the way that they've built up Charlotte.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And plus, not just the way they built up Charlotte, but the way they built up her match with Becky, because even the video package, they made it seem like this is the final encounter between Becky and Charlotte, like the feud ender, which has definitely been sticking in my mind. So yeah, we can begin.
How hilarious is that though? Like, how can you call this the feud ender unless Becky wins? Because if Charlotte wins, it should be like the opposite of a feud ender, because Becky has had Charlotte's number this entire time. So you're saying that Charlotte winning, it's like, oh, next point wins, and it just happens to be the person that everyone hates.
Yeah. Yeah, but then again, dude, and like I told you, since you brought up like Evan Bourne and Zack Ryder to me, it wouldn't be the first time they've gone with a heel for the feud ender. I mean, when Charlotte and Sasha had their big feud, Charlotte came out on top.
Yeah, but Charlotte won most of their matches, is my point. Becky has beaten Charlotte at every turn, and now Charlotte needs to beat her one time, and we're calling that a feud ender? I don't know.
But, I mean, figures, though, right, that she would do it when Becky's not at 100% because she had a title match prior.
Well, here's the thing, dude. I'm not disagreeing with your interpretation. I'm disagreeing with WWE's writing.
Right. Yeah, no,
It's stupid that you have Becky beat Charlotte every single time they face almost, but then we get to a point where you're finally ready to have Charlotte win because she's going to need a title because Becky can't have two titles for very long. And this is the one that you build as the feud ender. This is the one that you build as the last time these women will ever face each other, even though it's probably going to happen in a year or two again anyway. But still, like, of course, they would build up the one where it's most likely Charlotte's going to win as the final one.
Yeah. But the Lacey matchup, you know, the thing is, like, the social media build has been okay. The television build has actually been, actually, I'll say it's been pretty decent. I don't necessarily like the waffling between, are you going to sell the woman's right or not? Because Becky ate the first one, and now Lacey just seems like, oh, if she hits that, it'll knock Becky out. But they're brawls.
Yeah, I think the first one getting no-sold was probably a mistake on Becky's part. Like, she probably didn't realize that was supposed to be the finish, and she just didn't sell it properly.
Right.
That's my...
And, you know, their brawls have been pretty, you know, heated and stuff. And the contract signing double powerbomb, even though Lacey was just like, know, kind of giving the weak assist.
She really didn't contribute at all.
Yeah, it's whatever. You know, the gimmick gets heat. I feel like the more she becomes established, like, the more of a heel she'll become. And, you know, the aesthetic and everything, like, it's fine. And she's definitely better in the ring than Charlotte to me. Which I know, like, I'm drawing the ire of so many people, but I stand by it.
No, dude, it's funny because even Deluxe Man, who, you know, is like a huge Charlotte fan, he has even kind of conceded that Lacey is a better overall performer than Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that the Charlotte stans of the world would necessarily, like, go to war with you over that statement, over that take.
Right. I do, though, see Becky retaining the championship here. This is Lacey's first women's championship match, which, I mean, I guess in a way, if you, depending on your vantage point, you could use that as an argument for why she might win. But, you know, I still think Lacey's going to go down as like a 5 or 7 time women's champion. It's just not going to happen here. I think this is really Becky's era. I think whenever that era kind of ends, whether WWE decides that ending or what have you, that's when Lacey's just going to be like gangbusters and they're just going to do whatever the fuck they want. But thankfully, we're still in Becky's era, so I say Becky retains here, and hopefully it's a good match. We'll see.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think that you and I have both been kind of calling this for a while now, as far as Becky is going to drop one of the titles, and it's much more likely she drops the SmackDown title to Charlotte than it is that she drops the Raw title to anyone, really, because it just seems like she is like the top performer. Like, she calls herself the man, and that kind of stands tall. Like, it might as well be a fact at this point because she is like the most promoted other than Roman. And obviously Roman's on SmackDown. So that's even more reason to keep Becky on Raw, because then you have like a top guy on each show. Becky is like the most promoted. She sells the most merch. She pops the ratings the most. She has the biggest pop as house show attendance. Like, she across the board is the top draw in the company. Even if WWE still thinks it's Roman, Becky has proven to be that person.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude. I completely agree with you.
Which is why I think they will keep her on Raw, because it's still like, even though SmackDown's going to be going to Fox in October, November, whatever it is, until then, Raw is still the A show. And with the fucking wild card bullshit, she can still be on both shows the way Roman has.
Yeah. Oh, dude, absolutely. This whole wild card thing, it's completely invalidated the idea of a brand split, but that's a separate
Yeah.
commentary for a separate time. But I do agree with everything you're saying. It's just my point. So,
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we both agree then she's losing the SmackDown Women's title to Charlotte, but retaining against Lacey, right?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
then you know what? We'll have to talk about potential cash-ins later as well.
Yeah, we'll retroactively like return to these like bouts after we've discussed the ladder matches because that kind of opens up the field a little bit. So, what's next?
Yeah, up next, match number 6, Kofi Kingston defending the world title, the WWE title against Kevin Owens. Before you even get into this, I have theories, okay?
Yeah, go, brother. Run with it.
So this is one of those weird gut feeling matches for me where I think Kofi is going to retain, but I think he's going to retain in a way that gives Kevin Owens reason to get a rematch. Like maybe he wins by count out, or maybe Xavier helps him win in some way. Like he wins in like what could be perceived as like a heelish way, but it's Kofi, so we love him, so we're not going to boo him for it anyway because we love him. I think Kofi's going to retain that kind of way. I think Kofi is going to retain in a way that allows an out, like in a way where Kevin still has a gripe. And frankly, even if he doesn't, I just think Kevin will continue assaulting him because I think we're going to get a second match at the next pay-per-view, and that will be the one that Kevin actually wins the title from him so that we can set up for Owens Roman at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're talking a lot of sense right now.
Officially, I am predicting Kofi to win. Whether it's clean or not doesn't matter. I think Kofi's winning and retaining.
Okay. Just to kind of give my perspective, one, I got to give credit to both guys. I think the feud has had a fun build, even though I know Kevin didn't want to turn heel this quickly. And I feel like if things had panned out the way that they were supposed to, we'd be talking about Kofi versus Bryan 2 now. But that happened only like 2 weeks ago on Raw. So, I think Kevin's done his best with the material that he's had and what have you. Kofi is still insanely over, which is nice to see, because sometimes I worry that crowds are going to like peter out as soon as they get like their catharsis from a movement that they like threw their weight around. So like, oh yeah, Kofi Mania, we're with it. Kofi should win the title of Mania. And then he doesn't. It's like, okay, what's the next thing? What's the next mountain to conquer? And they've stuck with Kofi, which I think is very heartening to see. And very beautiful to see. So I'm definitely digging that, and it makes him a more believable and fiery babyface. I've enjoyed Kofi's promos. I've enjoyed him bringing the fight to Owens. Part of me thinks that Owens is going to win because Kofi's been stretching himself thin ever since winning the title. Yeah. Tried defending it against Rollins in that double title match. The bar broke it up. They ended up doing a tag match. Defended it against Bryan in a rematch, defended it against Sami, Zayn, and AJ Styles in a triple threat. He's been assaulted by Kevin Owens in between. Like, Kofi has really been like doing this war of attrition against, the WWE and against this perception that he's like a paper champion. Kofi's a proud man. He wants to build a legacy, and let's just come out and say it, build a legacy as the first fully black WWE champion. Now here's what I was thinking about today. Actually, before we got on, because I was making myself some food and I was thinking about, any last minute changes I wanted to make mentally to my predictions or whatever. The question that WWE is going to have to answer, because this is a pay-per-view. This isn't like a random Raw or SmackDown. So like, to me, pay-per-view actually freaking matters. Is Kofi a genuine champion, or is he a moment? Like, because WWE, they gave him Kofi Mania. They gave him the WrestleMania win. That was an amazing moment. The same way they gave Christian an amazing moment at Extreme Rules after Edge retired, winning the World Heavyweight title. This, to me, is Kofi's first real big test because it's pay-per-view and it's this and that. Is he a moment, or are they genuinely going to invest in him and give him at least a brief run with the WWE title to set a strong precedent for other wrestlers, like Keith Lee, Velveteen Dream, and others? Obviously, I would like the latter, but that's me. I'm not WWE. I don't know what WWE's thinking. So that's kind of my conundrum, because if he's a moment, I could easily see them putting the title on Owens. He retains in a rematch. And I actually really like your idea, personally, of Owens versus Roman at SummerSlam, because it is in Toronto. The crowd will be pro-Kevin, but they can just talk about how much noise people make when Roman Reigns is in the building. It's the perfect matchup for WWE by their standards. So the question is, where do I go with it with all these thoughts? And I say tentatively, that I am going to go with Kofi retaining. I am going to agree with you that Kofi retains, but this was not easy for me, dude, because given how they've booked Kofi leading up to this, I could easily see them protecting Kofi, like just him not being at 100% and Owens winning the championship. But I don't think, that's going to happen here. I do think Kofi Mania is going to last a little bit longer. So I'm going to actually agree with you. I actually pretty much agreed with everything you said when you laid out your theory. So it begins with Kofi retaining. So Kofi for the win.
All right, awesome. Glad we agree on this. I'm actually really surprised. I thought you were going to go with Kevin here.
I was really close, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I was really close, but I just don't think yet. I do think Kevin will be WWE champion soon, but I just don't think it'll be Money in the Bank. So,
all right, so we both agree Kofi retains, and we can get into our next match. Seth Rollins defending the Universal Championship against AJ Styles.
Oh, okay.
I feel like this is the one match that has got you the most anxious, Aardvark, because you're just so worried that AJ is going to win the title and ruin the possibility of you getting Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam for the title.
Alan. Yeah, let me just unpack all that because you kind of got ahead of me there. But you're right. You're not wrong. But yeah, just really love that this match is happening. I think for a lot of people, this is a WrestleMania main event worthy matchup. I love the history between Seth and AJ, which they explored. I think they explored just enough. Like, they didn't go over the top with it, but they did acknowledge it, which I appreciated. I feel like the promos have been great. Seth's intensity with AJ getting the better of him, I've really enjoyed. Like, I think he even had a line on a recent Raw promo where he said, yeah, I used to look up to AJ Styles, but after Money in the Bank, it's going to be AJ that looks up to me. And I really like that. I'm really loving Rollins as Universal Champion, especially because we see him every week. And AJ kind of playing the tweener role where, like, he's not beneath doing what needs to be done to win the Universal title, but he's still AJ Styles and he's still so good at what he does. I think that's perfect. This is going to be a really, really good Universal Championship match. I'm quite confident in that. But as Ashton said, guys, I'm trying to look beyond Money in the Bank as best I can because we know SummerSlam is right around the corner. And fuck if Bray Wyatt has not taken the wrestling world by storm with this gimmick and Firefly Funhouse. And to me, I mean, here's the thing. It could still work if AJ was champion. I'd be fine, I guess, with AJ versus Bray at SummerSlam for the Universal title. But to me, as a Seth Rollins fan, and that kind of looks at it from a more long-form perspective rather than just this event in isolation, Seth has worked his ass off to be Universal Champion, going back to when he was still a heel and, couldn't regain the WWE title, and then they introduced the Universal Championship. Like, he has chased that title for a long fucking time. Let him have his run, and I just want to see the confrontation of this Bray Wyatt and the guy that's always ready to burn it down in AJ Styles, in Seth Rollins, because AJ Styles, of course, is about building things. I think you put that match on the marquee. That gets me psyched for SummerSlam. And I know a lot still kind of hangs in the balance on the Bray side. He hasn't even debuted on television or anything. And I definitely think that this is going to be more than a one pay-per-view affair. Like, I do see AJ and Seth personally going at it again at Extreme Rules. If not, maybe the next Saudi Arabia show, Sands of Time, from what I'm hearing, that's tentatively the name. So I'm gonna say Seth retains, but I think it's gonna be in controversial fashion. It's gonna be like a dusty finish. Like, either AJ's gonna have his foot on the ropes, or maybe it'll be like a double count out, in which case it goes to the champion.
See, and that's kind of more like what I'm expecting out of the Kofi Kevin finish.
Right. I just feel like the only reason I'm giving it to this match, dude, is because AJ and Seth, from a prestige standpoint, as far as like their characters and their position in the company, they're bigger guys relative to, I'd say, either Kofi or Kevin, and especially AJ. Like, WWE fucking adores AJ, but he's not the defending champion. So I feel like they're going to want to protect him, and also as a way to lead into the next pay-per-view. So I'm going to say like a double count out, I think, for these two. And then obviously champion's advantage, Seth Rollins retains. Inconclusive finish leads us to Extreme Rules, where we can avoid double count outs and shit like that. And, that'll be the feud ender so that we can clear the slate for SummerSlam. So Seth to retain.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I'm picking Seth to retain as well. I think that this is more of a situation where I just think Alan is just like the perfect kind of legitimizer for Seth as champion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, dude. Absolutely.
He's like the perfect guy because like he's relatively fresh off of, and maybe not necessarily fresh, but just last year he was coming off of like a ridiculous, like maybe not historic, but amazing long run with the WWE title. So like he's incredibly, picking up a win over him is going to really make Seth look really good, is what I'm getting around to.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're 100% right about that, man. I completely agree with you.
And I love how on his game AJ's been lately too. Like it's so interesting when certain people are better on one brand than the other. Like SmackDown AJ was getting stale. Raw AJ I feel has been really good and kind of returned to what made me like him a couple years ago in the first place. Whereas it's the literal exact opposite with the Usos.
Yeah. Oh my God, what they're doing with the Usos on Raw is such a fucking shame. But I agree with you about AJ.
Yeah. So
definitely has been on his game.
All right, man. We both agree about Seth. We both agree about Kofi. We agree about Becky. We agree that Ray is winning the title. We disagree on the cage match. We agree that Roman's beating Elias. And we disagree on the kickoff tag match. And then we agree that Nese is retaining.
Look at you and I agreeing so much.
2 disagreements so far. One of them is pretty much irrelevant because it's the tag match. There were no titles on the line, so who cares? The other being Ms. Shane, which is, again, like, it's more interesting because it's more personal, but there are also no stakes, so whatever.
Right.
Now we get into the interesting stuff. The women in the bank ladder match. We have got Natalya, Dana Brooke, Nikki Cross, Naomi, Carmella, Mandy Rose, Ember Moon, and Bayley. Now, John, I know that you have lists. I know that you made a list from 1 to 8 as far as who you want to win, and a list from 1 to 8 as far as who you think will win. But all I want to know right now is, we'll rip the Band-Aid off. Who do you think is winning this thing?
Well, in accordance with my logical rankings, I have it number 1. Although, to be fair, 1 and 2 are pretty interchangeable, but I'm just going with my gut for now. Number 1, I have Mandy Rose winning the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Who's number 2?
Bayley.
Okay, so those are like they're neck and neck. You can't really decide.
Yeah, because I think you could make a very strong case for both. If you would permit me, can I just explain my justification for Mandy at number 1?
Dude, absolutely, go for it.
I feel like they're getting ready to separate her from Sonya, and they're going to want her to hit the ground running, and the briefcase is the idea of that. Because if we look at the narrative structure for how Mandy got here, Sonya gave Mandy the spot. And Mandy's all confident. They keep talking about like, oh, yeah, of course we'll go and we'll win the women's tag titles. But then they faced the Kabuki Warriors recently. And who eats the pin after Sonya does all the work? Freaking Mandy. I think they're sowing the descent. I could easily see Mandy winning the ladder match and then that briefcase being a device that further drives the wedge between them. And then Mandy breaks away as the heel because, oh, Sonya, you were holding me back. And you were the weak link, when clearly we can all see on TV that objectively just wasn't true. And then Sonya and Mandy feud. I don't think the feud will be for the championship because I don't think Mandy will cash in then, but it'll be one of her first feuds as a briefcase holder. That's the case for Mandy. The case for Bayley, just to touch on that very quickly, and then I want to kind of get your thoughts before I go through the rest of my rankings, because number 1 and 2 are the most important, I think, on every list that I've made. Bayley has said she's getting so tired about everything being Becky and Charlotte. If Charlotte does win the championship the way that we both predicted, I could see one feud ends, another one begins, and Bayley breaks the cycle. She beat Charlotte, and she said, I got tired of things being about Becky and Charlotte. Well, now, she won't say it exactly like this, but essentially well, now things are about me. Now we're in the era of the hugger as SmackDown Women's Champion. So I think that could be the Bayley route personally. And that's why they're neck and neck for me in logical predictions. So before I go any further, I want to pass the ball to you. What do you think about everything I've said so far?
I understand where you're coming from with the Mandy thing. I just can't pull the trigger on picking her. Even if she fits the mold and she is what they like, I just can't. I can't go all the way. I'm not picking her. I can't do it. I can't.
Right. No, I totally understand.
That said, though, I can tell you who I am picking, and we are in agreement to this degree. I'm picking Bayley to win.
Okay, so she would be your number 1 as far as
she's my number 1, and believe it or not, Nikki Cross is my number 2.
Yeah, Nikki Just to, can I, you know what? Let me just go through the rest of my list as far as logical rankings. I have Mandy at 1, Bayley at 2. I actually had Dana at 3, believe it or not. Ember at 4, Carmella at 5, Nikki at 6, Naomi at 7, and Natalya at 8. So that was my logical rankings from 1 through 8.
Who was at 7 again?
It was Naomi.
Naomi, that's right.
Yeah, and I only say that because she did beat Alexa Bliss on a recent Raw, and Alexa Bliss is like a big deal for them. Yeah. I mean, maybe not much longer. I don't honestly, dude. I could see her retiring from in-ring competition soon with all the stuff that's been coming out. See. But yeah, like those were my rankings. The only reason Nikki ranks so low is because she just got into this match, and maybe that's part of the story. Like ignored for so long, she gets her first really big opportunity and she seizes it. But then again, Dana Brooke is kind of telling a similar story, and she has the look that WWE more prefers, which is why she ranks higher. So yeah,
it's really interesting. I didn't really make a full list just because I didn't even bother to.
Right.
To me, there are really four people in this match that I think could realistically win Money in the Bank.
Right. Okay.
Bayley.
Yes.
Nikki.
Okay.
And the reason I would do Nikki is because then Alexa would challenge her and probably get the briefcase back for herself once she comes back healthy, if she does.
If she does, then I would agree with you. But I will put an asterisk by that for sure.
Right. Like for me, like I would say it would make like if Alexa's injuries aren't super serious and she's going to be able to return within like a month or two, I would not be surprised one bit if they literally put Nikki in this match as a placeholder for Alexa, had her win the briefcase, and then had Alexa challenge for it and win it from her in a month or two. Maybe even at SummerSlam.
Right. Okay.
I could see that happening. So that's the Bayley, Nikki. I will agree that Mandy Rose is a possibility, as gross as it is.
Right.
And Ember Moon is my fourth obvious choice.
Yes.
I don't think Dana is realistic. Like, I know that there's like all this talk, oh, she's the hardest worker, she's improved the most, but like still just no. Just no. She's worse than Charlotte on the mic, and she doesn't have the nepotism to back it up. So I just no.
Hey man, I don't blame you again. I'm just trying to think logical again, and we always break this down on the podcast. That's how we think WWE would think about something.
But I think WWE cares about the ability to cut a decent promo for anyone that doesn't have that nepotism behind them, like Charlotte or Nia or that kind of thing.
Right. To kind of pivot and to go into the fandom discussion, which is what I really love to do at Money in the Bank every year.
Yeah, absolutely.
My rankings, I'm just going to go through all 8 this time for fandom. And then I'll just talk about, I guess, the top 2. Fandom rankings: 1, Ember Moon; 2, Bayley; 3, Naomi;
Same.
4, Nikki Cross.
Okay. 5, I would agree with that. Yeah.
5, Carmella. Yep. 6, Mandy Rose. 7, Dana Brooke. 8, Natalya.
Fuck Natalya. I agree with everything, but I would have Mandy and Dana switched. I have Mandy 7th, Dana 6th.
Bro, that's totally understandable.
I don't know if you saw, but a couple days ago, I actually did tweet out a tier list regarding how I would react to the people regarding if they would win the Money in the Bank. Like I have an exciting, good, neutral / numb, and then a fuck off section at the bottom.
Right. Yeah.
You saw that tier list, right? I thought you were one of the people that liked it.
I did see that tier list. Yes. In fact, I want to kind of pull it up.
So as far as the women go, I had Ember Moon was the only person that I had in my exciting section. And then I had Bayley and Naomi in the good section. Neutral numb, I had Carmella and Alexa. I would probably put Nikki in the good section, but at the very tail end of it, and keep Carmella in the neutral / numb section.
Right. Yeah.
Dana, Mandy, and Natalya in the fuck off.
Yeah. Dude, now let me just say, because Bayley's a great character, great performer. I think a feud with her and Charlotte, with Bayley kind of being no nonsense, I ain't taking your shit.
Yeah.
That kind of writing could be a lot of fun. We need to talk about this fucking queen, okay, known as Ember Moon, who deserves a lot better. I want the She-Nom to hold that fucking briefcase. I know.
I want her to hold it, and I want her to cash in legit at SummerSlam so we can get her versus Charlotte one-on-one, no shenanigans, no bullshit, 15-minute match at SummerSlam. I want it.
Yes. Yes, because I am tired of Ember Moon being invisible in a division where she should be the fucking head, with how great she works in the ring. And her promos, I feel like, have gotten, I won't say exceptionally better, but good enough to, if Charlotte can be a multi-time champion with how she works the mic, give me a fucking break. Like, Ember would be fine. Ember would be absolutely fine as women's champion. I want the Phenom to hold that briefcase, and I love where your head's at. Cash in right in Charlotte's face for SummerSlam, 15-minute confrontation, and it ends with a fucking
Okay,
clip.
so you got really close to the mic to say face, and then you backed up too far because you got really quiet.
Apologies. Let me scoot in my chair here. That should help. But I
Much
was
better.
saying that I was really appreciating where your head was at. Get up in Charlotte's face. Cash in for SummerSlam, 15-minute confrontation. Eclipse. Pop Charlotte's head off like a fucking cork. New SmackDown Women's Champion. I am tired of Ember Moon being overlooked. See, this is why I love Money in the Bank every year, because I find somebody, if they're lucky enough to be in a ladder match, I pour my fucking heart out, and either they win and it's great, or more often, admittedly, they lose. I'm dejected, and then I just have to wonder what WWE is going to do with the actual briefcase holder. Ember with that briefcase would be fucking phenomenal. You'd be stupid, WWE, to waste this opportunity, which is exactly why you're going to go with Mandy Rose, so fuck off and eat shit. But yeah, Ember deserves the world, and this could be a real turning point for her. I hope she wins. I really, really fucking do. So
as you do. I mean, we're agreeing that we both want Ember to win more than anyone. But as far as who we actually think's going to win, you have Mandy. I have Bayley. Do you expect Mandy, if she does win Money in the Bank, do you expect her to cash in on anyone tonight, like the night of?
Only if we're wrong about Charlotte beating Becky and Becky actually beat Charlotte. Because
and then you could see her cashing in on a weakened Becky after two matches.
After two matches, abso-fucking-lutely, dude, for sure. For sure. But if Charlotte does win, Mandy's going to hold out until we get another babyface champion. And hell, dude, maybe it would be Ember Moon, oddly enough, because Mandy beat Ember Moon only a little bit ago. So, like, you know, who's to say? But yeah, this is one case, dude, where when it comes from our logical rankings, I'm hoping, if we can't have Ember, because I know we both want Ember, that you are right in this case, because I have no qualms with Bayley. I wouldn't be as excited about her as Ember, but it's still fucking Bayley, and it's miles ahead of like Mandy or any other alternative. So,
I almost feel like this is one of those cases where match order is almost going to determine like who I expect to win, because if the women's Money in the Bank is really early in the night before Becky's matches, or at least before Becky's second match, I'm probably going to switch my pick to Mandy as well and expect her to cash in after the second match.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, dude, about Money in the Bank, because I don't even think this is like the first year where like match order has kind of determined like the flow or whatever of a card. Yeah. So the way these matches are structured, like to be honest, dude, despite like our description, I'll just be truthful with you right now. I fully expect us to open with a ladder match, probably women's, if I had to guess. I could see us
right. So just to be clear, if that does happen, then I'm probably gonna just like call an audible on air and say, okay, well, I'm officially predicting Mandy Rose to win now.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. I hope we're wrong.
I do too.
But we're professionals, and we always try and look at things logically as well as emotionally. So, Mandy,
it's kind of interesting if you think about it too, because Naomi, Bayley, Ember, Carmella, Nikki Cross, and Dana and Natalya. Mandy Rose is literally the only heel in this match right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's the only one. Naomi is a face. Ember, Bayley, Carmella is a face. Dana is a face. Natalya is a face. There is one heel in this entire match, and that's Mandy Rose.
God, I never even thought about that heel to face ratio. That, I think, makes things even worse. For us, I mean.
And that's the thing, too, is like when it was Alexa, it could have gone either way. Because Alexa is like, I feel like Alexa is in like alignment purgatory, where they can go whatever direction they want with her. They can pull the trigger on a full-blown face turn, have her be like a sweetheart, or they can pull the trigger on her just being kind of like the standard Alexa Bliss bitchy little heel.
Exactly.
But now that that's off the table and it's just Nikki Cross and we know she's a face, it's literally down to one heel in the entire match, and that's Mandy Rose.
Whew, well, God, dude, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've been staring at these matches, like both the ladder matches, for a while, and like that didn't click for me until you said it, which is horrifying, because when you look at that kind of ratio, where the fuck do you think they're gonna go? Like, holy shit, that's bad. That's not good for us. That's not good for us that it's not that balanced. So I hope you're right as far as logic, and that like Bayley wins again. Obviously, we're both pulling for Ember, so that's the utmost hope. But if our dreams can't come true,
my number one hope is Ember. But if I can't have Ember, I'll be happy with Bayley too.
Can I just ask you one question before we move on to men's? Do you have like do you have any opinions on the possibility that Bayley might do like a tweenerish cash in? And just like, kind of do it? Or do you think she would just be noble and be like, oh, hey, I'm cashing in?
I guess there is some viability to the idea that she would cash in on Charlotte and be like, no, like I said, I'm so sick of this Charlotte Becky carousel. I'm breaking it. I could get that. That would be interesting, but it doesn't seem like something they would want to do with her. I don't know. I don't know. It seems kind of off to me.
Yeah, I can understand that. All right, I just wanted your thoughts on that because Bayley is kind of a wild card in that way where, like, I could get excited about her based on the context of her cash in. Because I feel like her reigns on Raw were fucking ass, and they kind of pushed the reset button on her on SmackDown, which with kind of mixed results. But I think Money in the Bank, if she were to win it, could give her a clear direction forward, and that's exciting to me. So we'll see what happens. But now, dude, here we go. We're here. Take it away, man.
Men's Money in the Bank. Here we go. Ladder. Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Ricochet, Finn Balor, Randy Orton, Andrade, and Ali.
Do you see that Andrade was the only name that you put some respect on because you know who the fucking king is? I respect you for that. But no, I gotta say, in all seriousness, man, first of all, I love our fucking audience. I want to shout out like Foster, and I don't know if Dwight Bennett, because I know I associate with him a lot on like Tweet and stuff. I don't know if he listens to Twitter. I'm assuming he does. But like Dwight Bennett, have we ever seen him in chat?
I'm pretty sure he's been in chat before, yeah.
I'm pretty sure. But no, we were kind of talking about Money in the Bank. My friend Ricardo, I've been talking about Money in the Bank with him a lot, particularly the men's, because this is the big one, because fucking Andrade's in it. I am so stoked for this. It's been so much fun talking with you guys about this, getting hyped. I love seeing all of you guys. Some of you guys have been throwing your weight around Ali. Some of you have joined me. Can I just say very quickly, everybody that joins me every year for these campaigns, you are the real fucking MVPs, because like you see me lose every time, and yet you still believe enough in the causes that I believe in that you keep getting back up on the horse, and that is beautiful. You are beautiful. So yeah, I've been seeing people making all sorts of picks. This is the match I'm looking forward to the most by like far and away. I even told you like my top 3 men's ladder match, Seth, AJ, Steel Cage, because I feel like again Miz and Shane has been a delightful feud. So I'm gonna go through my list so that I can get some coherence up in here. I'm gonna start with, just like last time, the logical rankings and then the fandom rankings. So logically, I have Drew McIntyre at 1. Baron at 2, Sami at 3, Andrade.
Wait, hang on 1 second. Start over. I'm sorry. I was reading something. Go ahead.
Okay, logical rankings starting from the beginning. 1 Drew, 2 Baron, 3 Sami, 4 Andrade, 5 Orton, 6 Balor, 7 Ricochet, 8 Ali.
Wow. Okay.
Now, this is where we get interesting, because that is just how I feel like WWE would think. Oh, we're finally ready to pull the trigger on Drew, even though he's a mountain, and we even gave him the nickname Mountain briefly, which I wish they would have stuck with that rather than Scottish Psychopath. And so we're gonna give him the briefcase. It's gonna be the reset. Me personally, like, that's the best logical ranking I could come up with. But even I don't agree with it, because I've been saying to you, and I want to reiterate here, I do think Braun is going to devastate the Money in the Bank ladder match, particularly on the Raw side. Like, I think he's going to fuck shit up. And if nothing else, I think he's going to take Sami out, first and foremost. But I would have to think that Drew would be a close second, because Drew did a lot of damage to Braun in that Falls Count Anywhere match. So that's immediately kind of me going against it. But that was like the best logical ranking order that I personally could come up with, trying to think like WWE. So that's my logical order. Here is my fandom order, as if it wasn't obvious to a lot of you. 1, Andrade. 2, Sami. 3, Balor. 4, Ricochet. 5, Drew. 6, Ali. 7, Corbin.
Yep.
8, Orton.
Yep.
The
You
only
want to hear
reason-
my fandom order?
Oh, dude, absolutely. Give it to us.
I think we actually are very similar. I have Ricochet higher than you. I have Andrade number 1, Ricochet 2, Sami 3, Drew 4, Balor 5, Ali 6. We have the same final 3. Ali, Corbin, and Orton.
Nice. The reason
I think
Corbin-
it's interesting that you're that high on Balor, though. He's 3 for you.
Yeah, dude, I just really like Finn as a babyface. I love how he works in the ring. I think he's got a sincerity and an authenticity that connects with people. And we saw what happens when the WWE machine gets behind it, because he seemed to get really over in his brief feud with Brock. And I feel like they could get that behind him again.
Yeah, that's true. He really did.
And, for me, dude, with Balor, I was even explaining to Rick, because again, we had like a mini conversation on Facebook about it. I'm not counting Balor out, because to me, they could give him the briefcase and then they can have him drop the IC title to Andrade like down the road, so then he can solely focus on the briefcase. And it wouldn't be the first time that they've booked a Money in the Bank winner to lose a few matches while holding the briefcase. So like, I don't think anything I'm saying is completely divorced from any kind of conceivable reality within the WWE product. So that's why Balor's like high in the fandom rankings. And where did I put him in the logical? Let me just look again real quickly.
Where'd you put who in the logical?
6 for Balor. I put in the logical.
Oh,
so he's pretty.
Logical. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. He's pretty low there. Only because of the IC title. But again, it's WWE. They can do whatever the fuck they want. The only reason Corbin ranks higher than Orton is because at least he's never been a world champion, so there's still that novelty. Not saying it should be realized, but Orton's been a 13-time world champion. I'm kind of fucking sick of it. So yeah, and then Andrade and Sami, the two big ones, which is really why we're here to talk about the cream of the crop as far as fandom goes. Who gives a fuck about number 6? Andrade, to me, the perfect candidate for Money in the Bank. He's got the moveset. He's taken the English lessons. I'm understanding his promos a bit more, but that shouldn't even matter because he's got Zelina, who they're also letting talk more. And I don't understand why it's such a problem to just let her talk from the get-go. But I digress, because maybe one day WWE would want to sever those two. I don't know. They're stupid. They do things. You know this. So it's nice to see him cutting more promos. And, I love the whole Señor Dinero en el Banco. That whole thing he's got going. I think it's fucking great. I'm a bit concerned because he did win the Fatal 4-Way, but you know what? I'm not even going to entertain the whole, who won on the last show or who won on this show and what was the win-loss ratio leading up to the show. I'm still gonna, go with Andrade full throttle fandom-wise. And Sami's number 2 because I think his promo work has been fucking exceptional. I think before he got injured when he was running with Kevin Owens as a heel, I wanted him as WWE champion. I feel like he was ready for that spot. The character terms seemed completely organic. I was frustrated with my spot in the company. I wasn't winning. I cared more about principles than winning, and I'm done with that. And now it's kind of evolved further where, I'm going to be the mirror that is held up to each and every one of your faces, everybody that's a critic, this and that, which we found out, we had a whole discussion about that Wade Keller podcast thing, that it's kind of Vince talking through Sami, but Sami's delivery is so good, to me, it doesn't even matter. And honestly, it may matter in the sense that, Sami having such great delivery and kind of being Vince's kind of mouthpiece, he may get rewarded for that. We don't know. Again, this company is very weird. I don't put anything past him. So Sami, to me, with the briefcase is really exciting. I think he's a great performer in the ring. I think his mic skills, I'll be perfectly honest, when Kevin is on with his promos, I think he's one of the best in the company. But for me, I don't know how you feel about this, Ashton. I'd appreciate your take. I think Sami's more consistent than Kevin on the mic. Like, I consistently enjoy Sami promos more than Kevin promos.
Yeah, totally.
And so I think, when you're that well-rounded, why not give him the briefcase? Why not take a chance on him? So Sami and Andrade, to me, you could not go wrong with either of those guys. But if you want me to cry on air, you give it to fucking Andrade, because the dude's so fucking young. He's so talented. Literally, if the only thing holding him back, admittedly in a xenophobic country situated in a xenophobic company situated in a xenophobic country, is a language barrier that he is kind of chipping away at, that's fucking ludicrous. And I hope it isn't. I would really like to see talent win out. I know you and I always dream of the day the WWE becomes a legitimate meritocracy. It's never too late for them to begin that development in that direction. And I think you start by giving the briefcase to Andrade. And I'm going to say it, fucking CN Almas. He will always be Cien Almas on this podcast to me. So Andrade full throttle. I'm picking him. Fuck my logic list as well. I even told you I was going to do this. I warned everybody I was going to do this. Doubling down 1,000%. Andrade's winning this ladder match. Fuck everybody else. So
well,
now,
I mean, to be fair, like you're picking Andrade emotionally, but we all know that you actually expect Drew to win because he's number one on your logic list. So
true, but I'm even saying though, stabbing my logic in the stomach.
But what I'm saying though is like you don't even have to come out and pick Drew because we understand that you're not able to emotionally disconnect yourself from this match.
And, yeah, exactly as you were with me. Like you acknowledge Mandy as a possibility, but you're not going to bring yourself. To
exactly. See, exactly. Yeah, like she is a possibility, but I can't bring myself to pick her.
Yeah, and
same way, like you recognize that Drew is the most likely to win, but you can't bring yourself to pick him over Andrade.
Yeah, and really, and let me just clarify too. I like Drew. The dude's worked so fucking hard. If anything, I feel bad for him. Imagine being Drew McIntyre, going to PWG, going to Evolve, and doing all this shit.
I was literally about to say, when you finished, I was going to say, Drew McIntyre is the Cage of the WWE.
Yeah. Dude, that's the fucking soundbite.
Yeah.
Like, you go all over to become the performer that Vince wanted you to be, and you come back, and at first things are great. And then you lose to fucking Dolph Ziggler. And you're in a program where you're kind of struggling a little bit with Dolph fucking Ziggler. Like, I feel so bad.
Drew's sort of, I don't know, like his Achilles heel has been smaller guys. Because, like, his first loss in the company was to Andrade.
Well, his first loss in the company was to Dolph, I think you mean.
Andrade in NXT.
Okay, yeah. I had the brain fart. Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. He didn't have a long NXT championship reign at all. I mean, he did get injured, unfortunately, but yeah, he dropped the title to fucking Andrade.
And then he came back and he was undefeated again until he lost to Dolph. So, like, the two guys that have had his number in a way have been smaller guys. I mean, they're not small. They're not like Daniel Bryan, that kind of like 5'9" small, but they are a hell of a lot smaller than him and small by WWE standards.
Yeah. And like, dude, we were even talking in Rocket League, which I guess we got to do another Twitch stream soon. But like with this wild card rule, do you remember what I said to you a few nights ago? I said, Ashton, with this wild card rule, you could easily have, like, if Kofi were to survive Kevin Owens, I could totally believe Drew McIntyre coming out, beating the shit out of Kofi, and being his next challenger and beating Kofi.
Dude. The more you talk about things unrelated to my pick to win Money in the Bank, the more excited you get me for my pick to win Money in the Bank.
Yeah, like, Drew doesn't need this. I keep saying to everybody, like, I like the dude. I feel terrible for the dude because he's worked so fucking hard and he's been getting peanuts. And then you're going to give him a briefcase, which because they mismanaged Drew. I'm not
picking Drew to win.
Interesting. I'm going to hand it to you in just a second. I just want to put a fine point on this. If you do make the mistake, and yeah, I said mistake, of giving it to Drew.
You kind of got almost like three threads going on here, though, because you have your actual emotional pick, which is who you're picking, but then you have logical pick in Drew, who you expect to win, who you're like ranting against right now, and then neither of those line up with who I'm picking to win.
I'm really curious who you're picking. But yeah, just to wrap it up and put a fine point on it, Drew, to me, you could have him win a Royal Rumble, you could have him win a Chamber. To me, a briefcase doesn't fit the character at all. And who are you picking? Drum roll.
Do you know who a briefcase fits the character for exactly?
Let me look at the list, and then I'm going to try and see what you're thinking about. Are you picking Sami to win?
You're fucking right, I am, yes!
Oh my God, you're doing it.
I am 100% picking Sami Zayn to win, because here's the thing, dude. It's perfect for his character. It is 100% incredible, perfect fit for who this Sami Zayn is. He is a sleazy, slimy, angry heel who hates the audience more than anything and is willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to win. And guess what? He's never held the WWE title. He's never even held a singles title on the main roster. And he is going to get that briefcase, and he's going to have his pick of the litter. Is he going to cash in on a weekend Seth Rollins, or is he going to cash in on a weekend Kofi Kingston and do the job that Kevin Owens couldn't do?
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Because see, here's the thing. I know you were telling me in conversation that you were really toying with the idea of Sami, and like, yeah, I remember that. I just didn't know if you were gonna fully commit or not. And here you are. You're fully fucking committed to this.
I'm doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down on this. Sami's winning.
I can't wait for this
He
pay-per-view.
is.
Oh my god.
He is my number 3 most wanted. Like he's my number 3 like emotional pick behind Andrade and Ricochet. But I also am aware that Ricochet is definitely not winning as much as I would pop for him winning. And I like Andrade, like you and I are both super behind him, but I also feel like, and you know, I'll even say like kind of similar with the women's match, where the women's match I said that there were 4 women that I thought had a shot, and it was Ember, Bayley, Nikki, and Mandy. With the men's, I feel similar. I feel like there are 4 dudes who have a shot, and it's Andrade is on that list, Sami, Drew, and Corbin.
Yeah, fucking Corbin.
I know, and I hate it too. I think he has a shot. But the thing is, like, if Drew were to win, I would be so happy for him because that would really be the opportunity that he needs to have that reset. He would be able to cash in on Kofi because I don't think he would. And even if he would, like, it doesn't matter who he cashes in on because him being able to cash in and win a title is like a clean reset for him because that gives him new feuds. That gives him opportunities to be in big time matches and longer matches, which, like, he's been in fucking tag matches for the last like 6 months, it feels like, because he's with Corbin and Lashley, and it's garbage. So I want Drew to win, and like I would maybe even put him like on the same level as Sami as far as how much I want them to win. I have Sami, Drew, and Finn like neck and neck with each other as far as who I want to win. But as far as who I think is going to win, I've got Sami number 1, man. Because here's the thing. We've heard lately, Sami Zayn's promos might as well be straight out of Vince McMahon's mouth. This is Sami. Now, I'm from what I understand, he still comes up with little material, but the shit that he's saying is all sentiments that Vince 100% signs on to and agrees with. He has finally done what we never thought he'd be able to do, and that's get in favor of Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Yeah.
So you combine that with the fact that Money in the Bank has always been designed for sleazy heels to be able to win titles without having to beat a healthy babyface opponent. And you can even add on to that the fact that there are potential stories with anyone he could cash in on. Because if he cashes in on Seth, then we've got like a really interesting story where it almost makes Sami like, I don't even know how to describe it, but like he would be, I feel like he would be like the ultimate chicken shit, like almost like the Miz's world title run a few years ago. Like he would be that guy who loses every single week, but as soon as the title's on the line, he finds a way to keep it. And on SmackDown, I think it would be even more interesting because then he would be on the same brand as Kevin. They would be gunning for the same prize. Only Sami, not Kevin, finally would be the one to get it first.
Yeah. Ooh.
And it would be the story of like he had to basically destroy what he used to be when he couldn't get the job done before Kevin to be able to get the job done before Kevin.
Oh, fuck, dude. That's so good. See, now we're at the point of the podcast where I'm wondering whether I jump ship and I feel like every preview and predictions anymore, there's always that one match where it's like, oh, that's a nice logical structure you got there. You got room for one more. Because no, it makes so much of it. Because here's the thing, too, dude. I already told you that I feel like Braun's going to devastate most of the Raw side.
And you know what? I do it too. But what I think is going to happen is I think he's going to go to the ring. He's going to target Sami immediately. He might not even have to go to the ring. It might be on the outside. He's going to target Sami immediately. He's probably going to like powerbomb him through a table or something like that. And then he's going to turn his attention to Drew and Corbin. And they're going to be the ones that he's focused on that really cost them the match, while Sami is able to recover in time to climb the ladder and get the briefcase. And it's going to be, again, like this sleazy thing where like everyone's laid out. Sami got powerbombed through a table like 5 or 10 minutes ago, and he's just recovering in time to see, oh, look, no one's around, and there's a ladder set up for me. I'm going to go up and win this thing, and he does.
Oh, dude. Because here's the thing, too. If I can just... Because I wanted us to have an in-depth discussion about this ladder match, so I'm getting my fucking money's worth.
And, dude, I just imagine him going up and grabbing the damn briefcase and that smile of his.
Yes.
Up. Oh, my God. And, like, just shoving it in all the fans' face. Because he already gets mic time every single week.
He does.
opportunity to go out there and cut a promo every week. And that's indicative, like that's quintessential Mr. Money in the Bank shit right there. They always give Mr. Money in the Bank mic time every week. They wouldn't have to change their programming for Sami.
No, they wouldn't. And I feel like he's been killing it every fucking.
He absolutely has been, yes.
Yeah, he got his own like home crowd to boo him and like do the whole.
Dude, that segment, that moment of bliss was legitimately.
Told you, brother. And I remember you even saying, like, bro, you were totally right. And I'm sorry I doubted you because I told like how epic it was. And he's so good. Dude, man, fuck you for always making me believe in your visions because this is so good. This is like Sami winning legitimately would be the only thing not making me throw like a fucking piss fit that Andrade didn't win.
Right.
Like, because anybody else, even those that I like do like, not even outright hate, I'd be like, well, yeah, that's cool for them, but Andrade, you know, and then my voice would trail off and we do the whole sad outro. If Sami won, though, like, it really would be like, I wanted Andrade, and I'll own that disappointment, but this is really fucking exciting for the WWE. Because I'll say this, too. Not only is Braun a factor, here's something that I want to bring back around from, like, our, like, what I've been saying, like, on Discord and at Rocket League stuff and this and that. I almost wonder if Drew's getting ready for a face turn because him and Baron have been having tensions. You know, Baron screwed him out of that triple threat as far as like the Universal Championship match goes. And, you know, Drew brought that up and him and Baron have been kind of antagonistic. Sure, they worked together to get Sami into this match, but you could have character beats in the ladder match itself. And I could easily see at one point Drew maybe climbing the ladder and Baron screws him again. I could potentially see a Drew.
Yeah,
Baron
absolutely.
feud. You know, I'm not taking that off. I'm not taking anything off the table. That needs to be understood. And
I'll tell you what, though, man.
Yeah.
No one is going to freak out more if Andrade does win than you. Because, like,
oh, dude.
If you're right about Braun costing pretty much all of the Raw heels the opportunity here, I mean, who would even be left after that on Raw? Like it's Sami, and Drew, and it's Corbin. Who else on Raw is even in this?
Ricochet. And you know what's funny,
and I think we
dude?
both agree that it's very unlikely Ricochet wins. So like,
yeah. And here's
that
the thing,
kind of narrows the field down. Like that cuts the field down pretty significantly if you really believe that Braun is going to find a way to eliminate all of the Raw heels.
And dude, here's the crazy thing. I'm so glad you brought that up. God, if Andrade went, like I wasn't even kidding about like if you want to see me cry on air, like I fucking love this dude and he is so good. And like the thing is, if Braun took out the Raw heels, I could see them do exactly what they did on SmackDown this past Tuesday on the Go Home show, where it comes down to Ricochet and Andrade again, but Andrade wins this time.
Yeah,
because remember on SmackDown, Ricochet unhooked the briefcase. We have a reversal of fortunes. Andrade is able to do what he couldn't do on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And like,
and maybe even it does it by just like knowing that Ricochet is going to do the exact same thing and remembering it from SmackDown and just countering it.
But to be fair, because we always try and be fair, even when it guts us, and my heart and my soul are all with Andrade right now. But again, this is why Sami's the backup plan. Fucking hopefully, I could see them continuing the Andrade Finn feud because he did pin Finn in that fatal 4-way. Their business is not done with each other, and they've been working a lot with each other the last little bit. I don't just see that going away, which is really like what scares me and almost makes me want to count Andrade out. But like you again with Mandy Rose, I can't bring myself to do it. I'm fully committed to Andrade. But if I am right that him and Finn are kind of, you know, bound together, please WWE, and this is where I kind of have my emergency, you know, escape plan here. Please listen to my cohort and commentary and go with Sami. This dude is such a great fucking heel. And, you know, I could see him. He could be a late cash in. He could cash in at SummerSlam. Because here's the thing, too. SummerSlam, again, Toronto. Sami would get a reaction. And then, you know, like he'd probably take the pop. He'd turn on him the night after. He's done it. He'll fucking do it again. He'll work him, and then he'll spit on him. He could cash in at SummerSlam. He could cash in after SummerSlam. That's a guy he can hold on the briefcase as long as he wants. I believe it. Go with Sami if you're not going to go with Andrade, because I swear to fuck, if you go with Baron or if you go with Orton, I'm just going to want to rage quit the recording. Obviously, I won't be able to. I would never leave you alone in a recording, but I would be so tempted to just be like, fuck this, let's go home, because it would be a fucking waste. The best people to give that briefcase on the heel side, definitely Andrade and Sami. And on the babyface side, look, I'll be truthful. On the babyface side, I think Balor's exciting, and I honestly think Ali's exciting. Look, Ali, the Kofi Mania story, everybody was saying how that should have been Ali's story, and they could work off of that. And him having that briefcase, whatever. So the two best heels to me, Andrade and Sami, the two best faces, I would say, yeah, Ali and fucking, who else did I say? I guess, yeah, Ali and Balor would be good. So, yeah, fucking, let's do it. Let's just get a briefcase holder we can get excited about. That's what I want. I want to be excited about who's ever holding the briefcase. If it's Ember and Bayley for women, great. Great scheme for 2019. Andrade or Sami for men's, dude, the fucking epicness of that programming. Yes, I am so psyched for this pay-per-view. I think you got me there, man. I think your vision of Sami, which is the only comfort I'll take if Andrade loses, that's what's got me from a 9 to a 10 out of 10. I'm fucking there. Let's do this pay-per-view. I'm so excited. Oh my God. So that's it. We'll see. You have anything else you want to say about this?
I don't think so. So you're still officially sticking with Andrade?
I am still officially sticking with Andrade, but brother, I will tell you, I have never, in all the times on this podcast that I have jumped ship and we've kind of made it a running joke, I have never been more tempted to do that than now, only because of how fucking good you already made Sami Zayn, like winning the championship look, which, I mean, it was already great on its own, but then you get your mind behind it, and I am so fucking sold. But again, you know where my heart is, and I know you'll be fucking stoked too if Andrade wins, because I know you love him like I do. But if Sami wins, that is one hell of a
Can
prize.
I just say, though, I love that I went over all of our disagreements, which really only amounted to 2 matches without any kind of stakes. It was, Bryan and Rowan versus the Usos non-title and Miz Shane in the cage match. Right before we talked about the Money in the Bank ladder matches, and we ended up not agreeing on either one of them. That worked out perfectly.
It did. Your face works out perfectly. I'm so
your official pick for the women's Money in the Bank, though, is Mandy Rose.
Yes, unfortunately.
Mine is Bayley, unless that match happens before both Becky matches, in which case I will pick Mandy. Men's, though, you're going all in on Andrade. I'm going all in Sami Zayn.
Oh I like how you and I picked the best ones and we went sharesies. Oh my God, I'm so excited for this. Oh, Sunday can't get here fast enough. I am so ready for this pay-per-view. Okay.
So we've got people in chat telling us what their hype levels are now. Foster got up to a 10. Chiefin's still at an 8. What are you at, brother?
Oh, dude, like I told you, I have to credit you for this. Because I put everything on Andrade and I still am. But if Sami wins, I was already going to be stoked, and you got me even more excited for the possibility of a Sami win. So you got me to a 10 out of 10, man. I am fucking ready for this. I am ready for this, man. I was
getting ready to be like, I'm with you now. I'm at a 9, but no, you.
I'm so ready for this pay-per-view. Let's do it. Let's do the title changes and the briefcases and the cashing in, and let's just be happy for once and have Ember win and Andrade win, or maybe Andrade and Sami could share because they're both so good. And let's do it. Let's do all the fucking things. Let's do it. Oh, I'm so ready for this. 10 out of 10. So you're at a 9 now, huh?
I am at a 9. It's a strong 9 too.
Oh my God, I'm so dude. I feel like we're obligated. Though, given kind of our MO on this podcast, to say and just put out there, watch them fuck this shit up. Like, we are so hyped.
Watch them put it on Corbin.
And it goes to fucking Mandy Rose and Baron, and I'm just gonna look at you and I'm gonna be pleading for you to give me permission to slit my wrists, and you're just gonna tell me no the entire time. Because you're like, no, John, we gotta do Game of Thrones series finale review tomorrow night after this. I'll be like, no, I don't want to live. They're gonna fuck this up. And it's gonna be fucking awful. But if they don't, and we are actually in one of those events that demonstrates the magic of pro wrestling, I am going to be so fucking happy to share it with all of your beautiful faces. I really hope it goes that way. I really, really do. So we'll see. But for now, I just want to thank everybody that came out to like the video, to hear me rant and be all giddy like a schoolgirl. And if you thought this was giddiness, I'm kind of terrified of myself for the squeed that I'm going to unleash into the microphone if Andrade actually does win that briefcase. Oh. Sweet mother of God. And especially, can I just say too, it would be all the more emotional because it would be one of my campaigns that actually panned out. Like, so you add that extra layer of like, oh my God, I backed a horse and it won. I could finally go home to my family that I paid off my debt at the racetrack. So yeah. So I want to thank you guys for like feeding me your energy. I fed off your energy. I hope we elevated your hype levels because I do adore this pay-per-view. I adore the concept of it. I love the gimmick of it. I love how Mike Horton commentary's fucking mind works because God, Sami already on his own would have been a fantastic choice, but Ashton showed me the vision of how you could handle Sami with a briefcase. And I'm like, oh my God, why don't we already have this? And yeah, it's perfect. Everything's perfect. You're all perfect. And thank you just for coming out. Really appreciate it. So we will see you most immediately on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time for Money in the Bank live reactions. And if you want to know everything else that's going on in the month of May, I urge you all to go to Ashton's pinned tweet. He has the updated Twitwell recording schedule for the month of May. My mind's just on Money in the Bank right now. I'll think about all that stuff when it comes. Let's go Andrade. Let's go Sami if we can have Andrade. And 100%, let's fucking go Ember Moon and Bayley. Let's take those briefcases back to talent where they belong. I'm going to hand it over to Ashton and take us home. Love you guys.
All right. Awesome, ladies and gentlemen. We do hope that you enjoyed our preview and predictions tonight. I can't believe we went over an hour. That's crazy. We had a lot of fun talking about it, though. We hope that you enjoyed it as well. If you did, please like this video. You can also subscribe to the channel. If you're new, click the bell icon for notifications. Follow us both on Twitter and on Twitch. You can also like our Facebook, buy our merch on Teespring, donate to our Patreon, and share this video, share this channel with all of your wrestling fan friends and let them in on the best kept secret in the YouTube wrestling community. We are TwitWow, and we are the workhorses of the YWC. And if you need any proof, look no further than the TwitWow schedule. It's simple enough. All you got to do is go to my Twitter account, which is linked down in the description below. You can see the pinned tweet is the TwitWow schedule, and you can already just look right there. Boom, Sunday, Money in the Bank live reactions. Monday, Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 6 live review / discussion. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, we've got double recordings because we've got BOSJ and WWE content on both of those days. You know, on Tuesday, we've got days 5 and 6 of BOSJ, the block matches, and then we've got SmackDown. Wednesday, we've got day 7, which is literally just block matches and NXT. Then Thursday and Friday, we've got more BOSJ. And then Saturday, meaning like a week from tomorrow, is AEW's first ever big-time pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, and we will be live reacting to that. If we can live react to the pre-show, we'll probably try to. If not, we'll just start at the main show. And then again, like a week from this coming Sunday is, again, more BOSJ. BOSJ is taking over our lives, people. It is an unstoppable force. And we have got content coming at you every single day from Sunday the 19th until Sunday the 26th. And we've even got 2 days of double recordings in there. So I hope that you're all looking forward to the content overload coming at you over the next week and a half. I know we're both pretty excited about it. And we will see you all on Sunday for Money in the Bank. Stay tuned.